Hello, my name's Roisin and I'm sick of reading. Hello friends and welcome to my reading thrillers for a week reading vlog. If this is your first time coming to this channel, I am doing a 6 weeks, 6 genres reading challenge where I read a different genre every week for 6 weeks in order to break out of my reading comfort zone. So this week is thrillers, but in the past I have read romance for a week and sci-fi for a week, and I will leave all of those videos in the cards and in the description if you would like to check them out. I am quite excited for Thrillers Week because I think that this will be quite a fun, fast-paced, interesting week, one that I will find myself, hopefully, be finding these books unputdownable and being really driven to read, because I've been in a bit of a slump and finding it hard to get myself to pick things up lately. So hopefully reading something like fun, fast-paced, easy to digest, like thrillers are supposed to be exciting, it will be enthralling, and it will be difficult to put down because you just want to know what's happening next. So for this week, I am planning to read Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy by John le Carré, who was an MI5, MI6 agent in the UK in the 1940s and 50s, I believe. John le Carré is a pseudonym, his pen name, and this is a very classic Cold War spy thriller. So I wanted to read it because it's a classic of the genre and because I think spy thrillers are quite a popular type of thriller as well. Next I'm planning to read My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, which is one that I saw all over BookTube, I think last year, and I think it was also shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, which is unusual for something that is genre fiction. So I think that this is going to be a slightly more literary take on the thriller, and as far as I'm aware, it is about someone whose sister is a serial killer. Her sister becomes interested in the man in whom she is also interested, and she knows that her sister has a history of killing the men who she's involved with, she says, because they have been violent towards her. And this one, I believe, is set in Nigeria. And then finally, I'm planning to read The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which is, I think, kind of slightly supernatural, and it is about a party, and this guy goes back to the party 7 times in order to try and work out what is happening, and he is a different person each time he comes back to the party where someone was murdered. Evelyn Hardcastle, I assume, was murdered. And this one, again, was very popular on BookTube a few years ago. That is my plan for reading thrillers so far. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog. Hello friends. So I've got to be honest with you, it is Wednesday, it is the 1st of July, and for Monday and Tuesday this week, these were the only clips I got. So I haven't been very good with the vlogging. I also haven't really been reading. I have started my first thriller, Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, the classic of the genre. But honestly, by started, I mean I've read half of chapter 1, which is about 10 pages. So I definitely need to focus and sit down and get stuck in. Went to London on Monday, went to hospital to get bloods done on Tuesday, and just haven't been really very focused on what I am doing. But hopefully for the rest of this week I will be. My partner is going back to work on Friday, so I'm going to be at home by myself, which hopefully means a lot of reading. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy is starting differently than I suspected. It's a Cold War spy thriller, but we started in a boarding school. So I'm intrigued as to why we have started in a boarding school, and I definitely want to get into more of the political intrigue, who can we trust spy aspect of it. But at least this week I have a physical copy of a book. Everything so far has been digital because when you're reading genres you don't normally read, you don't really have a huge back supply of them in physical copy. And, you know, the library's closed before I could do this through my library. I'm going to get stuck into this and we shall see how this vlog plans out. Not got much planned this week. So today I have filmed 2 videos, I've done a load of washing and I am now putting away clothes. It is a very exciting day. Scribd does this thing where the books go away for a bit and then they come back again. So My Sister, the Serial Killer is not coming back till tomorrow, I think. And then The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle I'm borrowing from my library, but it's not available until Saturday. Which means that today is Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, then I've got 2 days for each of the other books. So I just did some yoga and a workout, and I feel great because I've really got into doing workouts since we went into lockdown, which is fun. So I'm struggling a little to get into Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but I've not really got very far, to be fair. I've only read like 2 chapters. So it's like 9:45 now, so I'm just going to read for an hour or so until bedtime, and I'll probably won't see you till tomorrow. It is 3 o'clock. It may not look like it because I am not dressed. I have just edited and uploaded my video, and my sister the serial killer has just come back live on script, and it's only 4.5 hours long, which is great because that means that I can finish it today. I've got an extra day for reading Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy because I'm struggling to get into the focused headspace I need for that. So I'm going to start listening to my sister the serial killer, and I'm going to go and make some lunch. No, it's late. We eat quite late. I'm absolutely loving this weather at the moment. It is warm, but it keeps raining, and it is perfect. Hello, it is 10 o'clock, and I haven't done very much reading at all today because after I last spoke to you, I got a migraine, which was excellent. I took some paracetamol with codeine, and I feel much better now. So I've done a workout, which is why I look so sweaty. But I'm going to get in the bath and read some more of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy while I'm in the bath. Hello, so I have not been particularly good at reading or vlogging this week. I've got a few clips from the rest of the week, but I haven't really read anything until now. So I'm currently about a quarter of the way through Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and none of the way at all through My Sister the Serial Killer and The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Hello, so it is midday now, and I have read quite a lot more of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I am enjoying it, although I keep like drifting off when it gets into like the nitty gritty of spycraft, but hopefully it'll get more thrilling as it goes on. I am going to bake some brownies now. So I don't have any greaseproof paper, so I have instead, it's quite hard to see, isn't it, greased and lined with cocoa powder my tin, because you would often grease and line with flour for a cake, but because this is chocolate, I have lined with cocoa powder instead. Just turned on the camera and instantly sneezed. It's 2:30. I am about a third of the way through Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, still not fully immersed. I'm eating my brownie. It's not bad. It's not very sweet. It was the recipes for a salted caramel brownie, and I couldn't be asked to make caramel, so I just made the brownie part. But I think they've like adjusted the amount of sugar because there would be caramel in it, which obviously was super sweet. So it's not very sweet. But we do have salted caramel ice cream, so I'm sure it'll be good with that. Anyway, good tangent. I am now folding up all of the clothes that I did. I did a wash a couple of days ago, and I did a wash yesterday. And I'm folding up all of those clothes to put away, and I'm going to start listening to My Sister the Serial Killer while I do it. Hello. So it's about 10 o'clock on Friday, and I have finished My Sister the Serial Killer. and I did enjoy it. I think I need a little time to consider what I think of it before I give you my full thoughts. But what I do think is that it's not very thrilling. It's not like twists and turns and surprises and on the edge of your seat, fast-paced thriller. So, the book that I had chosen was The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which is kind of slightly supernatural and I think quite twisty. But I've also now found The Woman in the Window, which was like a really hyped thriller last year and I think might be more like straight thrillery. So I still have to finish Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which I have here, which isn't the sort of jumpy thriller that I'm thinking of, the sort of Gone Girl style. This is a spy thriller and is quite old, from the 70s, I guess. So is a different type of thriller again. First published in 1989. There we go. So whilst spy thrillers are a part of the thriller genre, and I know like James Patterson writes spy thrillers, and there's lots of people who still write spy thrillers, so this is a thriller, but I don't think it's the kind of thriller that people who read thrillers on BookTube are reading. So I want to finish this, but I also want to try something else. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to go for The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle or The Woman in the Window. I don't think I can do both because I've got 2 days left of this week and they're both quite long. So we'll see what happens. Hello, it is Saturday, it is 1 p.m. I've edited a video this morning, but I haven't done anything else. I'm feeling really tired. My fatigue's really bad. My partner's at work until 4. Well, they should be back about 4:30, 5 o'clock-ish. So I don't really know. I'm just going to start... I'm going to start listening to The Woman in the Window, but I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot today because I feel like I've been exsanguinated, which is joyous. Sorry, I don't mean to be grumpy. I just feel a bit worn out and I'm hoping The Woman in the Window will be like thrilling and intriguing and I'll want to keep reading but also won't involve too much brain power. So that's what I'm going to focus on because from the reviews on Goodreads, The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a bit more divisive, like it's a bit more hit and miss. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think Emma from Drinking Above Her Shelf literally said, I don't know whether I loved or hated this book, whereas The Woman in the Window was one of the biggest books of 2019, it won the Goodreads Choice Awards for the thriller section, so it definitely feels like a straight thriller. So along with Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which I still have to finish, I'm going to read that for now. Hello, so I've been listening to The Woman in the Window. I'm about an hour and a half in. I didn't know anything going in. I think that's kind of the way with thrillers. It's best to go in not knowing much with a thriller like this, I think. But what was I saying? So she's the main woman in it. I don't think we know her name yet. Is obsessed with old movies and with Hitchcock, and she's there's something about it. I'm trying not to give you too much information because the fact that she likes Hitchcock isn't going to ruin the plot. But anyway, there's definitely Rear Window vibes going on, and I think that's probably intentional, especially Rear Window, Woman in the Window. You know, it's clearly intentional. But the fact that someone who likes old movies isn't aware that their behaviour is Rear Window, kind of annoying. I feel like she should reference that. Hello, it's 8:30. I just did my workout. I'm really hot and sweaty. I'm going to have a brownie and ice cream. Very excited. I've listened to about a quarter of The Woman in the Window so far. I don't like the main character, the woman in the window. She's constantly talking about weight and her daughter's weight and like policing her daughter's weight, and I really do not appreciate that. She's going to give her 8-year-old an eating disorder the way she carries on, but I don't know if that's purposeful. Like, we're meant to see her as image obsessed and unhealthy in her thinking and obsessive and controlling. I don't know if that's what we're meant to think. I don't want to like spoil things for you, but that is just a personality thing, I suppose. It's not really anything to do with the plot. It's quite hard. Because I don't normally read thrillers, I don't normally have to think about spoilers, and so my feelings can be a spoiler for thrillers, I think, in a way that they can't really for any of the other types of fiction that I read. So I'll get back to you later, but I think I'm probably going to try and read the rest of I'm going to try and read 100 or so pages of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and then I'll go back to the audiobook when I finish doing that. Hello, I'm in the bath. I don't know why I say that every time. It's quite evident that I'm in the bath. I've finished part 1 of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which Should have finished it a while ago. Not been great on the reading this weekend. When I'm reading it, I keep wanting to read it, but I'm also really easily distracted from it, and I don't know if that's to do with the book or just my state of mind at the moment, but it is not holding my attention as much as I wish it were. It's a bit weird. Sometimes I don't really understand what's going on, and I don't know if that's because my attention span isn't great or because it's about spies and I'm not supposed to understand what's going on entirely. I can't remember who everyone is all the time. I clearly make a terrible spy. It's Sunday. I'm about halfway through The Woman in the Window now, and I'm kind of bored. It's kind of boring. I don't know if it's going to get twisty and interesting and good, but it's moving way slower than I thought it would, and an event has now happened that I think is kind of the key beginning, instigating event. We've spent a lot of time setting up the unreliableness of our narrator, and now we've had an instigating event, but I don't really care at the moment. I just don't care. So I'm going to persevere because I'm hoping that it's going to get like twisty and interesting. But at the moment, I'm just like, meh. I've not been feeling great lately. I've been feeling really anxious. And I'm not entirely sure why. It might be because I'm an extrovert who has been trapped indoors for more than 3 months now, and my partner's gone back to work. So I am probably on my own a lot of the time at the moment. I also feel like I don't know if I picked the wrong thrillers or what, but Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy I'm finding really hard to focus on, and The Woman in the Window I am actually bored by. I'm actually finding it so boring. I kind of wish I'd stuck with the seven deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle now, because it's really, really boring and there are still 4 hours left and I just can't seem to bring myself to do it. But it is Sunday evening and I haven't finished either of these books. I've got the audiobook of this now, hopefully to convince myself to keep going, but I'm kind of bored of everything. At the moment I'm really struggling not to be bored, and that's making me very, very boring at the same time. Things seem to be getting to me this week and I seem to be not enjoying the thrillers, and I don't know if it's the fact that I am anxious at the moment that is making me not connect with these books, or thrillers just really aren't my cup of tea, as if I just don't get the hype about them. Now, I know I did enjoy My Sister the Serial Killer, but it didn't feel particularly thrilling. It was just clever and interesting. I didn't love it, it's not my favourite book, but I definitely got why people like it, but also got why people say it's not really a thriller, it's more like literary and character and all that. And John le Carré is not someone that I see on BookTube a lot. He's not someone that people like that talk about. He's someone that people like my dad read. But again, so far it's not thrilling, and also it's the sort of book where I understand sentence to sentence, I understand the book fine, and then I've read 100 pages, I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? What's even happened? I feel like there's a lot you have to infer. It's funny that Thrillers Week is my dullest week of lockdown so far, but I find thrillers dull. Maybe I'm generalising. I don't know. I'll have to come back to you when I've read a bit more. Hello. It is Monday now, so we are officially over that week period, but I'm going to finish them today. I promise you. I've got an hour left on the audiobook of The Woman in the Window, and it better get real good or else I am severely disappointed in this thriller. There was a twist that happened that I'd worked out like an hour into the book, and just wasn't a twist, didn't surprise me at all. I was like, obviously that's true. Kind of it was like coming to an end, the twists had happened, and now, but there was still 2 hours left of the audiobook, so obviously those weren't real twists. And so something's happening now, but like I just don't care that much. Like I'm not really thrilled by anything. Nothing's really feeling that tense. Which kind of the reason I swapped to this thriller was because I wanted to read like a pure thrillery thriller, nothing, because I felt like My Sister the Serial Killer wasn't a thriller in that sort of sense, even though I did enjoy that. And Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is so like old fashioned that I wanted like, this is what people who read thrillers like to read, so I chose this one, and I don't get it. Hello, I'm in the bath again. I fell down the stairs earlier, so I've really hurt my coccyx, so I needed a bath to deal with that. But listening to the end of The Woman in the Window and the movie references are really winding me up. Like there's one bit, I don't think this is a spoiler, where she says, oh, she stayed oblivious a little too long for my liking, and you're like, that's too on the nose. That's too on the nose. You can't say something like that. It's too obvious what you're aiming at. I feel like there's too many clues. I don't know how people who read thrillers are not like, this is such the most basic, obvious thriller ever. I mean, I don't read thrillers, but the twists and the storyline and the what's going to happen, I feel like it's not making tension, it's just giving away the story.
Two kitten friends visiting our garden, and radishes ready for harvesting.
So my partner is a chef, and yesterday was Sunday, so Sunday roast day, and they've brought back all of this, like roast chicken, roast potatoes, and roast carrots. So I am making a mushroom chicken pot pie. So cut up the chicken, made this creamy mushroom situation. Gonna pour that over, add some pastry. I'm gonna have chicken pie for dinner. I've also finished The Woman in the Window, and it is officially the worst book that I finished this year. I absolutely hated it. Now, if you watched my Reading Romance for a Week vlog, you will know that I DNF'd a book in Reading Romance for a week. I'm not opposed to DNFing books in this series. However, I thought that the point of thrillers is like the twist, and so I felt like I needed to get to the ending in order to feel that twist and see if that would make up for how slow it was in the beginning. It didn't. It was so predictable. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and then there was this big, like, villain monologue at the end, and, like, pushing someone off a roof. Like, it was so ridiculous. I've also heard some stuff about AJ Finn, the writer, since then, which he seems like a dickhead. So yeah, I'm really, really disappointed that I didn't stick with The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I might have liked that book, but now I've got no time because it's Monday and I need to finish Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and next week is Fantasy Week, and I've got so many pages to read for Fantasy Week, there is just no time. So, this is the most frustrated I've been all year about a book. I'm listening to Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I think I said earlier that it was published first in 1989, and I've just looked it up, it's 1974. I thought it was the 70s, but then my edition's from 1989, so that's why I got confused. I'm just confused about what's going on. I just don't know what's going on. Like, I think I'm following, but I'm sort of hanging on by a thread. Might have to read the plot, because I just feel like I'm not focusing properly. But I've got to get this finished tonight, because tomorrow Fantasy Week begins. Okay, I've just read the Wikipedia of the plot, and I know what's going on. I actually already knew what was going on. I was fine. There's just a lot of, like, fluff that was confusing me. But I do know what's happening, so it's okay. I just think I'm struggling to follow on a small, like, I get it sentence to sentence, and I get it big picture, but the paragraphs are confusing.
Don't know. Bit weird though.
So that was an interesting experience, wasn't it? So, as you already know, I didn't read The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle because I decided to try and go for a, like, purely thriller without any bells and whistles, one that was very popular and one that would be the key to the genre, hopefully, and get me interested. And I hated it. It was the worst book that I have read so far this year. And that was obviously The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. I will leave the article about AJ Finn and his lies and everything in the description below, but what I didn't like about it was so incredibly slow for the first half. I was just really bored by the main character and everything she did. She was kind of annoying. Like, it's hard, she had agoraphobia and alcoholism, and it's kind of unfair to be annoyed with someone for their mental health issues, but she was also very controlling, talked about her daughter's weight when she was 8 years old in this really disgusting way, and I didn't like it at all. And then there was a twist, kind of 2/3 of the way through, roughly, and I was like, yeah, I know, I've known that since the beginning. Did you not tell us that? I thought that was so obvious that it wasn't a twist, but apparently it was a twist. And then the reveal of the thing is, this woman is an agoraphobic and an alcoholic, and she sees from her window someone get attacked, and she tells the police, but because of her history of mental illness and the drugs that she is taking, she is not taken seriously, which I believe is also the plot of The Girl on the Train, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, the reveal of who was the person who'd done the attack, I was like, again, you've told me this. I know this, because the woman who is an agoraphobe is obsessed with old films, and there are quotes from the old films throughout the book which reveal the plot. They tell you what is going to happen, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then also there's a big like villain's monologue at the end, which is ridiculous, and a like falling off a building in the rain, which all felt very like on the nose, dramatic, cliched. It almost felt like a satire, to be honest. So definitely disappointed that I didn't try and read The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle instead, because maybe I would have actually enjoyed that book. So I also read My Sister the Serial Killer, which I did enjoy. I liked the way that it was written. I liked the characters. I liked the way that Braithwaite had got us inside the psyche of all of the characters, despite the fact that we are very specifically from one character's perspective. I liked the discussions on gender and patriarchy, desire. I thought all of those politics were really well explored, and it was definitely a very interesting book. However, I wouldn't say it was very thrilling. You know what is going to happen at all times, and you're not really on the edge of your seat. There's a bit of maybe you would find out there's a bee, you have to go that way. Sorry, I just had to get the bee out of the house. But yeah, I didn't think it was very thrilling. There was a moment when you thought that potentially the sister was going to get caught and they were going to get found out that they'd been doing these things, but it never really felt incredibly tense for me. And then finally, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy I thought was well written and intriguing, and I loved the exploration of intelligence services and how they go about things. Again, it was very slow paced and I never really felt any of the intensity of what was going on, and also there was quite a lot of racism in it, microaggressions and just like off-colour comments and stuff, because it was written in 1979 and it's old guard stuff you can expect, but that doesn't mean you want to read about it. So I didn't really enjoy that aspect of it. I found that all of the thrillers I read I didn't feel thrilled by, and I didn't feel any of that tension or page turningness. It took me all of the week to read Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy because I enjoyed it whilst I was reading it, but I had no desire to go back and pick it up again. And that's obviously not what you want with a thriller, and I didn't actually manage to get through it until I found an audiobook for it. Well, I think that they're just not for me. I think that I find it quite hard to get thrilled by a book. I find it quite hard to be drawn into that. I'm just like, I don't really care. I like psychological, character-driven stuff, and thrillers are obviously very plot-driven. That's kind of the nature of the genre. And unless I feel invested in a character, I find it quite hard to be interested in a plot. The thing is, it's difficult with only reading 3 books of each genre to actually feel like you know the genre that well. So I definitely think I would give it a try again if there was some sort of aspect to it that I was more interested in, like if it was a historical thriller or one that people said you'd get invested in the characters. Overall, I'm not really sure how I feel about thrillers. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like this video if you liked it and subscribe, because I put out new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thank you. Bye bye.